Alright, so this is day 8 of working on my 250,000 mile Civic to get it ready for a 10,000 mile road trip. So yesterday I tried to remove this lower control arm, but I figured it wasn't coming out peacefully. Because I used penetrating oil, power tools, breaker bars, even encouraging words at some point, but nothing worked. I guess that's what happens when you drive the northeastern salty roads. But sometimes, when ill can't be cured with a pill, you schedule surgery. Alright, since we're replacing the whole control arm, I think I'll cut here just to make it easier to work on. Now that we got that out of the way, then we can just work on this. I'm just gonna get rid of that bolt. I'll cut it there, and then I'll cut it right there. And that should be it. We made it! It absolutely wasn't coming out. So after that, I finally was able to move to the other side to try to remove the other lower control arm. But at this point, I started questioning my life choices. You know, sometimes I think I should have picked another theme to create content about. Something I was more like an expert on. But if that were the case, I'd probably be creating content about how to make bad decisions. Wait. Probably I'm already doing it. Well, this one was not easy to take out, even with the saw. But we finally made it. And with the lower control arms finally out of the way, I started removing the other stuff. Alright, so I finally was able to get all this out. Not the easy way. Now it's time to clean up everything and install the new parts. Let's do it. And I cannot describe how good it feels to finally be able to start putting parts back together. At this point, I was just having a good time with myself. My feet on solid ground, I thank the master, I thank the savior. And after a couple days of being on jack stands, the Civic finally hits the ground. So after replacing the tie rods, you should always get an alignment. So I took it to the shop the next day. And it's crazy because I ended up paying almost as much as I did for all the new parts that I installed. But all that hard work was worth it, because now the Civic drives as smooth as when it was new. It's just a great feeling when something finally works out after hours of struggle. And not necessarily because you knew exactly what you were doing, but because you trusted yourself enough to figure it out. Sometimes confidence isn't knowing you can do it, it's being willing to try anyway. And that reminds me I'm not a mechanic, but who cares? God bless.